You know the logo and you've seen the aesthetic animal shots that make you go, how'd they shoot that? But nature is rarely that cooperative. Nature is actually quite boring. It involves a lot of sleeping, a lot of waiting, and most importantly, a lot of money. Today we're going to be looking at the economics of the National Geographic documentary. How much does it really cost to make the videos that you love? We have to talk about blue chip filmmaking because it's not just another outdoor boys video. They're meant to sensationalize nature to make more money. Early this year, National Geographic started putting out episodes of Pole to Pole with Will Smith, where the actor travels across all 7 continents to explore life's questions. One of these episodes took him to the South Pole, where he had to dive into ice-cold water and climb snow-laden mountains in the name of adventure. Based on National Geographic's website, traveling to the South Pole for an expedition costs approximately $65,000 per person for a 2-month ski trip. $65,000 for 2 months, and that's not even including the film crew. The cost for producing a documentary series of this caliber involves considerably higher undisclosed production budgets for specialized film crews, safety equipment, and logistics across 7 continents. So how much does a full-scale nature documentary cost? When we look at the ledger of a flagship documentary series like BBC's Planet Earth trilogy, we're looking at a total cost of at least $25 million to $35 million for a season with a maximum of 11 episodes. And if you break that down, you're looking at roughly $83,000 per minute of finished airtime. The first installment took 5 years in production, over 2,000 days in the field, using 40 cameramen filming across 200 locations, shot entirely in high definition. And for most people, that's a scary amount of commitment. Or if you like math, that works out to about $1,380 per second. Why is it so expensive? Because nature takes forever to shoot, and if you're a wildlife photographer, you'd know this. In standard cinema, a crew might shoot 3 to 5 minutes of usable footage in a day. In wildlife, the average is 1 minute of usable footage for every 10 to 15 days in the field. You're essentially paying for 14 days of nothing just to get a good 60 seconds. Chapter 2. What happens when a budget is scrapped? Even after the years of filming and editing, there's still the slight chance that a documentary is scrapped. So what happens when National Geographic spends the money, finishes the film, but decides not to publish it? Enter the case of For Winter. This film followed Alison I don't know how to say her name. This film followed Alison Crisatello as she led an all-female expedition to the top of Canada's highest peak, Mount Logan, to retrieve the oldest ice core in history. National Geographic spent years filming this. It was screened at the Banff Mountain Film Festival and slated for a global IMAX tour starting early 2025. Then just like that, it disappeared. And no one really knows what happened. All we know is that a multi-million-dollar asset was scrubbed from existence, and all National Geographic had to say was something came to light that was relevant to the film. I don't know what to say to that. I guess it makes sense because in the corporate world, especially for a brand like Disney, if a story becomes a brand liability, it automatically stops being an asset. They can't release it. It's cheaper to just write off $2 million as a tax loss than having to deal with a PR disaster that hurts shareholder value. But the footage didn't go in the trash. In most cases, scrap documentaries go into the vault. National Geographic still owns the rights, so even if the story of Alison Crisatello never airs, the high-res footage of Mount Logan that she got will probably show up as B-roll footage in like 5 other documentaries. Even if it might hurt their bottom line today, the brand identity of a $2 million company is worth way more than a $2 million write-off. In Chapter 3, the incentivized lie. If you spend $5 million on an episode and the animals don't perform, you don't have a movie. And that's how nature documentaries lie to you. In the wild, a lioness would stalk their prey for about 15 minutes. But they could stay perfectly still for up to an hour. I don't know how interesting an hour-long staring contest with a lioness would be, but I don't think National Geographic wants to take that risk. So instead of doing absolutely nothing for an hour, a nature documentary might edit down that stare to last no more than 3 seconds before the orchestra starts to swell and the chase begins. This isn't just editing, it's a manufacturing of drama to ensure viewer attention. Because if no one watches the video, then no one wants to pay to watch the video. But the lie goes deeper than just pacing. We have to talk about the sound. Nature is surprisingly quiet, and I highly doubt that there's a microphone good enough to catch sound from 300 yards away. Almost every sound you hear in a high-end nature documentary is added later on in post. Watch enough nature documentaries and you'll realize that National Geographic anthropomorphizes a lot of these animals, making one out to be the villain and one to be the hero. More often than not, the prey is cast as the hero in this scenario, escaping the jaws of the villainous predator. Unless they're a lion, because a lot of people like lions. National Geographic argues that sensationalized storytelling is heightened reality to help us connect with nature. Critics argue it is a fundamental deception. Because when we prioritize a thrilling story over the boring truth, we stop being observers and become consumers of the product. The ethical dilemma here is quite obvious, and honestly, even I don't know how to answer it. And so, I'm gonna ask you this. Do the ends of sensationalized storytelling justify the means if it leads to conservation? Or is National Geographic just interested in making a profit through nature WWE? I'll leave that to you. And until the next video, love you. Bye.